Yo, what's going on, guys? Emperor Wave here, and today we're here to talk about that latest update of that One Piece greatness. One Piece chapter 1019. Off the rip, I pretty much knew that this chapter was going to be centered around Sasaki and Franky's battle based off of the chapter title. But Oda also briefly covered some other really interesting stuff as well that I'm pretty excited to talk about. And this was definitely needed considering that we're about to go on another break, sadly, but we have some content to talk about. Let's get right into it. You know, I always find it very peculiar how Oda decides to heal his characters. This chapter, we actually see the Heart Pirates trying to revive Luffy from that drowned state that he was in. And after they pumped all of the water out of his body, they basically started brainstorming about what kind of treatment they should give him as far as medicine goes. But in the middle of them trying to figure out his situation, he basically yells out, "Meat," which is a very Luffy-like thing to do. This man literally seems unconscious but is fiending for some food. You would think that after his battle with Kaido he'd be worn out, but he's really just fine. I can kinda imagine this same situation with Zoro, but instead of him yelling meat, he'd be yelling for booze or alcohol. And I even remember back in Whole Cake Island how Katakuri felt with donuts. He felt like it was the source of his power. Oda's just goofy that way. Hell, I'm even thinking about that whole milk situation with the teeth. That was absolutely ridiculous. But let's move on from this. This is pointless. Speaking of Zoro, he's finally receiving that mink recovery medicine, but the doctor seems to be piercing pretty deeply because he can't see through all of the bandages that Zoro's been wrapped up in by Sanji. I wonder what kind of consequences this could lead to. I never imagined that these bandages could skew a plot line, but sure, let's see what happens. Also, it's very noteworthy to mention that we see Sanji and Queen still going at it at the very beginning of the chapter. Sanji happens to think about Franky when he sees Queen's rapid laser firing tech. So this fight could ultimately end up with not only Sanji becoming stronger because he's doing battle, but also Franky because Sanji will be giving him Queen's parts as an upgrade. That's pretty interesting. I didn't think about that. By the way, the fact that Sanji can calmly assess that and smile while still being in his base form says a lot. Either Queen's not as strong as we originally thought, or both of them are just starting to heat up and they're not serious yet at all. In the comment section, let me know down below what you think it is. So the main course of this chapter, the biggest dish before the dessert, we get Sasaki versus Franky, and they are going at it. After Thomas stunned a few chapters ago, we see that the Gifters in Sasaki's group are having some infighting as well. And once Sasaki realizes that he's about to go into a one-on-one, he does exactly what Who's Who did last chapter and jump right into his hybrid form. And I'm not gonna lie, Sasaki's Triceratops hybrid form looks mad funky. Not funky in a bad way though, funky in a pretty good way. With Who's Who's hybrid form, he was shaped pretty much just like Rob Lucci, but he just had his own style to it. Not only does Sasaki look massive in front of Franky Shogun, but he doesn't look anything like what we've seen before. And props to Oda for putting that V-shaped scar on his stomach, which was pretty much attention to detail, but it also has to do with the fight. We'll get there when we get there. Here's where things get a bit ridiculous with Sasaki. This man has a mechanical spiraling spinning sword. But wait, there's more. This man has a spiral spinning Triceratops head.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Stop playing! What the fuck? Stop playing! What the fuck is that?
And this man just passed the questions as if this was normal. As if we're the weird ones. Am I missing something? Triceratops couldn't actually do this, could they? Am I missing some kind of legend or some kind of lore? What is happening here? Regardless, before I move on, I want to mention the fact that Hold'em from the beginning of this arc also had a mechanical sword. So the blades do have an origin. Spinning head though? Not unless Queen worked on his body. I don't see how this is possible. Somebody please let me know if I'm missing something. But anyway, Sasaki continuously used this to his advantage by flying and propelling himself forward, adding more power to his attacks. And it also doesn't help Franky's case that he's not as skilled with a sword as Sasaki is. Although I will say that this isn't a perfect technique that Sasaki is using. We actually see him propel himself backwards the first time he tried to do it, and then he tried to play it off again like nothing happened. This man is pretty funny. This fight basically became a battle of durability. Who could take more punishment? Franky's robot body or Sasaki's dinosaur body? Until until Franky figured out that his weak spots were on his stomach due to him seeing the V-shaped scar that was left by his sword. Once he figures that out, he blasts Sasaki in the air with his cannon. It rattles him a little bit and makes him cough up some blood, but he pulls himself together to do a dive bomb attack and destroy part of the Shogun with a technique called Magnum Ceratops. Luckily, Franky uses his brain and ejects, and catches him off guard with a radical beam to the stomach, aka his weak spot, seemingly finishing the fight and knocking him out cold. This was a pretty dope exchange, and Franky really did his thing during this battle. By the way, I still believe that theory about Sasaki and Franky is true, about them being somewhat related, but we probably won't find out until the end of the arc. Go check out my chapter 1019 prediction video to understand what exactly I'm talking about. Meanwhile, we have to talk about the last section of this chapter, Yamato versus Kaido. So apparently Yamato ate a fruit by accident that Kaido was on the hunt for. Very similar to how Luffy ate Shanks' Gomu Gomu no Mi because he was hungry, which by the way adds to my thought process of Yamato basically being a second Luffy, a strong idiot. Kaido admits that Yamato is strong, but the reason that Yamato is this strong is because he's basically been fighting a Yonko for years now. This is the literal meaning of what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. It's basically the Haki blooming strategy. I'm still not all the way positive if Yamato is using Conqueror's Haki as well, but it seems like it based off of the lightning streaks. We just aren't sure yet. But yeah, Yamato is in his hybrid form and I have no idea what exactly it is. I'm thinking it's a white tiger devil fruit, but it's hard to be certain. Drop Yamato devil fruit theories down below and let's talk about it. Let's compare ideas. I actually thought it was like some type of elf just by looking at the ears, but I don't know. Other than that, Yamato actually almost escaped Wano before, but because he ate the fruit, he sunk like a hammer in the ocean, which really highlights how intense the trade-off is you're making by eating a devil fruit. And I don't think we've actually thought about this since the pre-time skip, so kudos for Oda for bringing that back. This was a really dope chapter, and I actually said this before, but I'm glad that Oda is taking his time showing us the battles. I was a bit worried that he was just going to show us the final techniques with no build up or no type of combat scenes at all, but he's been going all out. And as far as Yamato, I'm hoping that we see the battle next week as well, and actually see the back and forth. I want to see Kaido and Yamato go club for club, toe to toe, mano y mano. I think that would be a really cool thing to see. But who knows, maybe he'll go to the Black Maria thing next chapter, and we'll finally see Robin do her thing, Robin and Brooke. That'll be a pretty enjoyable read as well. In the comment section down below, let me know what you guys think of this chapter. Was it really good? Was it subpar? Was it okay? Also, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Click on that notification bell to stay up to date with my latest content, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.